Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Guardians of the Galaxy, issue number 12 of 12, it turns out. We've been seeing this coming for a while. We know that Donny Cates is leaving this book. Al Ewing is going to be taking over, and Cates is going to go over to Thor now, taking over for Jason Aaron, his personal hero. So there's that. All right, let's get talking about this book in and of itself. We're going to talk about the story itself, how this arc rounds up, how this storyline ends up, the end of this comic book title, for a little while at least. Faithless, issue number 6 of 6. Donny Cates is on script. Corey Smith does the pencils. Victor Olazabra on inks. David Curiel doing the colors. Jeff Shaw and David Curiel did the flashback. Okay, there's actually a lot of stuff here. I'm just going to go through the names. Dylan Burnett and Antonio Fabella, Ariel Olivetti and Antonio Fabella, Trad Moore and Dave Stewart. There's a lot of flashback artists on there because at the very end of the book, there are a couple of double-page spreads where there's the boom. So, yeah, it actually is quicker to just look at the pages than to read off the names. VC's Corey Petit does the letters, and Jeff Shaw and Dean White does the cover art. A couple of people on variant covers also. All right. So this does wrap up everything. We get to see everything get all put together. There's so much Ankh imagery in the beginning of this book. I started thinking that Dr. Fate was going to show up out of nowhere. Just like, damn. But it was purple instead of golden. So there's that. So all these Draxes, all, the destroyers promised. Jason from the future, he's planning on going back and taking over. It's a funny thing because he's like, if I go back without the destroyers and whatnot, like, dude, no, we're all gonna die. Well, that sucks. There's actually a really great mic drop moment in here. There are a whole lot of great moments in here, but the mic drop moment in here when he says, son, don't do this. If we go back without our destroyer, if we go back, we're going back with nothing. What his son, what Star-Lord says back to him, that is probably one of the ultimate mic drop moments of the year. It was perfect when you think about the lead up to all of this. This is called The Death of Rocket. Unfortunately, I don't know. I guess Donny Cates isn't all into killing people so much because, spoilers in the beginning. Rocket, we're good. We're good. I mean, we see it on the cover of the next issue. Rocket is right there with the rest of the team, so he's okay. It's not like it's a new Rocket, you know what I'm saying? He just needed a couple upgrades. In fact, what we see on there is a little bit, it's like, yeah, he just needed to come in for his upgrades. All of his biometrics were out of date. Really? That's all it was. I mean, I guess it makes sense, but like, you're telling me, let me get this straight. One of the ultimate engineers, and he says it in here, there's such a great moment in here. You're not losing to a raccoon, you're losing to an engineer. And as a former electrical engineer, that's a damn good moment. I'm just like, hell yeah, STEM baby, you know what I'm saying? Walk around with my Yang Gang math symbol up here, my math button or something. Like, it was a really great moment, but at the end of the day, what happens? At the end of the day, it turns out the only reason why Rocket was dying was because the dum-dum decided not to go in for planned maintenance. Like, this is the thing. I wanted to learn about cars, so I started working at Sears Automotive for part-time for about a year. You know what I'm saying? So I can learn about cars, right? It's just, you want to learn something, get a job doing it. You know what I'm saying? So one of my favorite things that I learned was that in the automotive business, we actually call the little, like the check engine light and the oil light and all that stuff, we call them dummy lights. In the business, we call them dummy lights. Why? Because there are all these lead-ups to, one, here's the little change oil thing at this mileage or in this many months, like 2 different ways to do it. They give you a sticker and everything, right? So many people, they fail to do that. Oh, make sure you rotate your tires every so often. Make sure you check your treads. Make sure, you check your engine, or check your oil, check your transmission fluid, stuff like that. For crying out loud, there are people who drive around with no brake lights, or missing a tail light or something like that. How hard is it to back up or to look in your rearview mirror to see if your freaking lights are on? Just take a quick look, put it in reverse, hold it, tap the brakes. Oh yes, they come on. It's not that freaking hard. People drive at night, you know what I'm saying? So you can see that stuff behind you in the mirror. But no, and people wind up, their dummy light comes on saying, hey, dum-dum, it's probably too late, but hey. And considering that so many people in America are one, let's say, automotive upgrade, because like, oops, I need a new something, a new freaking whatever. It could be an alternator on my car. That could potentially put somebody in some serious financial straits, probably even bankruptcy. So, like, I see something like this. It's like I see he's an engineer, and then I see, oh no, he's too dumb to go and check to see if his bio upgrades are okay. Wow, like kind of a dumb moment there. But there was a really great moment. Like, all that aside, that's just, the technical aspect of Professor Bell's background. I'm still reading the comic book, and towards the end, I'm not lying, I teared up a little bit. I had to go use the bathroom before I decided to start doing this review. I didn't start doing this review immediately after reading the book, unlike most books that I do. So, I admit, there was definitely a moment or two in there. I'm good. I'm past it now, all right? But yeah, it's a funny thing. I'm not going to get into all those pages at the end, but they are really beautiful. They really are beautiful. A lot of people have some great moments. We're also, again, I'm going to show you a page inside the book because it's freaking beautiful, man. We get Mecha Groot. Like, that's Rocket inside. Rocket's like, but without my suit, I'm not going to make it. He's like, don't worry. I am Groot. Like, that's it. Okay, crap. I'm like rereading the book now. A little bit of waterworks, maybe starting. Maybe it's a problem that I live next to a ninja clan and an onion farm, and they go to war against each other once in a while. So you know what happens when ninjas start cutting up onions, right? Anyway, there were a whole bunch of really great moments in here. How Drax winds up getting taken care of. So I'm going to make a comment. On this that's probably not exactly in the positive. That's cool. It's not in the negative, but it's not exactly positive here. Look. It's one thing to have an epic ending, and make no mistake, this is an epic ending. But I see the comments, all right? I'm a huge fan of Donny Cates' work, all right? So, I read the comments, and a bunch of people come over. They want to check out what the High Priest Professor is talking about with the book and whatnot. Granted, look at what, you look at Jason in here, and you know what Donny Cates does to his High Priest, so, oops. But there are a bunch of people who fall off this book. A bunch of people are like, the book's just not doing for me. Listen, although I really did love what I was reading before, I do have to admit, the book was fun. I could see it was going somewhere. Turns out it was going back to the status quo, but because he was falling off the book. I honestly wonder, when did Donny Cates know that this was going to end? When did he know? Did he already start the Death of Groot story? Because technically that was in like the 3rd issue, I think. Maybe it was the 1st issue. It was very soon, when we saw Gamora trying to defend Groot and his little, thing where we saw that Groot was actually hurt. Where he was actually hurt. He put his hand down the window and he looked like emaciated. Like, it was kind of like a messed up thing. So he'd been doing this since the beginning. But did he know for a year that he was going to be jumping off of the Guardians of the Galaxy and onto Thor instead? That Al Ewing or somebody else was going to be coming? I'll show you the image for the next book. God, that is gorgeous. I love that. Love that. And since I just bought the Deadpool and Hit Monkey toy recently, I'm kind of hoping they make a Groot in a suit too, because that would be a Groot in a suit. So I just wanted to rhyme that. Groot in a suit would be cool also, but can we also have Rocket in a suit? Because hey, use the same mold if you need to. But I do feel like the art could have been as a whole better, and that maybe the death of Rocket could have actually led to his death, at least for a little while. But it depends on how long he was going to have the book for. When did he know this was going to be the case? Did he actually change the idea of, oh, hey, I was going to make it so that Rocket was going to die, but then I found out I was leaving. You kind of have to put everything back to basics, back to, reset, back to the delta, as we say in engineering. You know what I'm saying? You have to put it back at delta. You have to put it back, even where it was. All the toys have to go back on the shelf pretty much the way that you left them. So, I have to give a lot of leeway to Cates for that. But where he doesn't get leeway is that the other issues, a lot of people were dropping off this book. It's a Guardians of the Galaxy book. Granted, it would have been a whole lot better if the movie was coming out when we thought it was supposed to be coming out, if that nonsense with James Gunn didn't happen. But all that being said, I think that the lead-ups to the final epic ending, which this was, if they could have been a little bit better, maybe less people would have dropped off the book. So you got to call it like you see it. You know what I'm saying? It's not about hero worship. It's not about idol worship. It's not about, this guy, that guy, or Donny Cates guy can't do any wrong. No, of course they can do wrong. They're human. You know what I'm saying? Plus, I think the guy was like getting married during the time. Somebody pointed out when he was doing the interview for me. Always much appreciated. Maybe one of these days I'll get the nerve up to ask him to do another one. But what do you call it? They his wife, who was then just his friend, was commenting in the chat, and he called it out. I was like, oh, that's just my friend in the group asking about his hair. That was funny. That was funny that they were just talking at the time and now they're married. Interesting. So all of this, there's a whole bunch of reasons, like, dude was getting married at the time. All of a sudden he got bumped to another book. So I get it if a lot of people wanted to fall off the book before, but now that it's finished, and I am telling you, this is an epic freaking ending. So many mic drop moments, including probably the mic drop of the year moment. Consider grabbing the second volume in trade, because I know you've already grabbed the first volume in trade, right? This was cool. This was really good. I still need to see the resolution to the death of the Inhumans. I did get a double-page spread in here. Didn't quite do it for me, though. Cates has to finish what he started with the death of the humans, and I'm hoping that he will. We'll see. Only time will tell, right? That's it for me, guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.